Whether to the right or left, you point your rifle. Do you see that? Well then, when you adjust your sights for windage, you simply determine how much to the right or left you're going to point your rifle. Once you set your sights, they stay put. So, till the wind changes, and you have to make a different allowance, you can be sure you've got the same angle every time. How about those clicks in the windage knob? Like the clicks of elevation, each click of windage moves your rear sight right or left an exact distance. As a result, you angle your rifle right or left a corresponding amount. And that changes the strike of the bullet on the target a distance in exact proportion to the movement of your rear sight. So it all boils down to this. One click of the windage knob moves the strike of the bullet 1 inch for each 100 yards of range. At 100 yards, one click to the right moves the strike of the bullet 1 inch to the right. At 200 yards, it moves it 2 inches. At 300 yards, 3 inches, and so on. Let's see if you understand that. Your range is 300 yards. You fire a trial shot which strikes the target 9 inches too far to the right. Which way will you move your rear sight? Right or left? Keen?
Sir, you've got to move the bullet to the left. So you move your sight to the left.
Correct. You move your rear sight in the direction you want to move your hit. You take left windage. Now, there's an error of 9 inches at 300 yards. How many clicks of left windage do we need? Find?
At 300 yards, well, one click moves at 3 inches, so you take 3 clicks left windage. Don't you, sir?
You do. Any questions? Okay. Suppose your shot hit 6 inches to the left of center. What would be your correction if the range were 200 yards? Hole?
Sir, at 200, one click would be 2 inches. So it'd be 3 clicks right windage to move the hit to the right.
Good. 3 clicks right windage to move the hit 6 inches right at 200 yards. Now, your target is at 500 yards. Your hit is 10 inches right of center. What's the correction? Murphy?
2 clicks left windage, sir, because it's 5 inches per click for 500 yards.
Excellent. Now, what about that wind you're going to allow for? How can you guess? How can you be fairly sure in advance what effect the wind is going to have on your shooting? There are some good tricks to it, and they're not hard to learn. To begin with, I don't have to tell you that there are 2 things about any wind that are important. One's its speed, and the other's its direction. In the Army, we always speak about wind directions by the clock system. It's simple and convenient. Imagine yourself in the middle of the face of a big clock. Directly in front of you is 12 o'clock. Then 3 o'clocks to your right. And 9 o'clocks to your left. 6 o'clock straight behind you. And the other hours are in between. We name a wind by the hour it's blowing from. A wind from directly in front is a 12 o'clock wind. From the right, a 3 o'clock wind. From behind, a 6 o'clock wind. And so on, around the clock. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock wind. The Lord knows that's easy. Just remember, you're always in the middle, facing 12 o'clock, and the rest's a pushover. So we come to the other important factor, the velocity or speed of a wind. We measure the speed in miles per hour, and your common sense is enough to tell you that a 10-mile wind will have twice as much effect on a bullet as a 5-mile wind from the same direction. But how are you going to figure out a wind speed? Well, the best thing to have is plenty of experience. An old-timer can just look at a wind and feel it on his face and give you a close estimate of its speed. But not many of you have the experience it takes. So, you'll just have to figure it out. You can get some help by using your eyes. Watch what the wind does to grass or trees or dust or smoke or anything else that's blowing. At first, that won't tell you much about the wind speed in miles per hour. But you'll be surprised how soon you'll get the feel of it. In the meantime, there are a couple of simple rules that you can use. Here's one. Take something light, like dust or a blade of grass. Toss it into the air and watch where it falls. Point with your whole arm from the shoulder at that spot. Then estimate the angle between your arm and your body. Most of you know that a right angle is 90 degrees. When you hold your arm out straight, then, the angle between your arm and your body is 90 degrees. All right. I'm pointing at the spot where the grass fell. My arm is a little less than halfway up, so I'll say the angle under it is 40 degrees. Got that? If this is a 90-degree angle, this is a 40. Now then, the rule is that you divide the angle under your arm by 4 to get the speed of the wind in miles per hour. Don't ask me why. Somebody made it up before my time and didn't tell me why. But I know it's near enough right to work. 1/4 of the angle between your arm and your body gives you the speed of the wind. All right, if this is a 40-degree angle, what's the speed of the wind? Lewis?
4 into 40 is 10, sir. 10 miles per hour.
Right. The angle between your arm and your body divided by 4 is the wind velocity in miles per hour. If my blade of grass fell there, what's the wind speed? Carol?
That's a little more than halfway up, sir. About 60 degrees.
Right. 60 degrees? What's the speed of the wind?
4 into 60 is 15 miles an hour.
Okay. Remember that. 1/4 of the angle between the arm and the body. There's another rule of thumb. Or really, it's the same rule applied in a different way. You take the whole angle between your body and your arm when it's straight out and divide it into 5 equal parts. Then each of these parts represents a wind speed of 5 miles per hour. You see what I mean? You toss your dust or your blade of grass or whatever it is, just as you did before, and point to the spot where it falls. Then you work it out this way. 5 miles per hour, 10 miles per hour, 15 miles per hour. Questions? Of course, you won't always have to work the wind out for yourself. This man's army believes in cooperation. If somebody knows the wind speed already, ask him. On the range, ask the man ahead of you. In battle, ask the next man down the line. And if anybody asks you, tell him. Only don't tell him unless you know what you're talking about. Well, now you know how to designate wind direction and how to figure wind speed. You're able to get the information you need to set your sights for the effect of the wind. How are you going to turn this information into clicks of your windage knob? One way is to refer to windage diagrams in your scorebook. These charts work out the corrections for you and will be explained in detail by your platoon leaders. But you don't take your scorebooks into battle. In the scrap, you estimate your wind, do the figuring in your head, and set your sights but quick. So learn how to do it now, while you still got time to think about it, and get your questions answered. Ready? Hold on to your hats. Here we go. Here's the one-click windage rule.